Hi there, it's Emma and welcome to Sax Bites, the 5-minute saxophone lesson podcast. Last episode, I started us on a journey of talking all about scales. I really do love technical practice. It's just so good. You can see your progress and it feels great to get stuck into some of the more interesting ways of practicing scales. So I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically. I'm going to narrow in on how to connect scale practice to whatever your musical goals may be. So if I had to summarize today's theme or message or the one takeaway that I want you to get, it's that practicing scales just going up and down isn't really all it's cracked up to be. Just going ascending and descending and nothing more is going to give you some benefits, but it's not going to really unlock the true potential of what you can achieve in your technical fluency, in your consistency of sound, and in building your muscle memory in particular keys. So, where are we going to start with this? Well, we're going to start with learning any scales that are the keys your current pieces are based on. So that means getting out the music that your teacher has currently given you, looking at what keys and what modulations, hint, hint, are present, and building a scale routine based exactly on those. Yes, we need to learn scales for specific things. You might have an exam coming up or something where you've been told you need to learn those scales. But at any one time, you should be working on scales and scale patterns that are in the keys that your current pieces are in. Let me give you an example from my own practice. I'm currently working on a piece that's in E flat major. Very, very straightforward, 3 flats, a key I know very well. In my warm-ups and my technical practice, I am making sure that I'm working on E flat major in there. Now, this is where we start to get a little interesting. I start by adding really simple patterns into the scales that I practice. So I might play it backwards, so descending then ascending. I will play it swung. I'll start on a different note, so go from the second to the second, or the 7th to the 7th, or the 4th to the 4th. Or I might start in the altissimo register and play around in that key up there. I'm finding any way possible to practice an E flat major scale without just playing up and down 1 octave or 2 octaves E flat major. Then, once I've had a little play around with it, I start adding in interval scales. Now, what I do is I practice the scale in thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths, and octaves. That's a little advanced. If you're a younger player, you should definitely just be starting with your scales in thirds and maybe scales in octaves as a little bit of an extension exercise. And finally, I do something that I call flexible scales. This is a little trick that was taught to me by my saxophone teacher in uni and is probably the most useful pattern out of all of them because it requires us to improvise. So within the scale, you are going to start on your tonic note And you are going to go up and down, moving around wherever you see fit. You might go up 5 notes, down 8, back up 3, down 2, up 9, always moving in stepwise scalic motion, turning around whenever you see fit, and just enjoying playing in that key. If you want to add a little bit of an extra challenge, you can pop a metronome on and try and end on the tonic after a set number of beats. So you might move in semiquavers at crotchet equals 70 and try and end up on the tonic on the 8th beat or the 10th beat or the 12th beat or whatever you'd like. That's a little extra challenge, but just moving around in the key, where changing and chopping around wherever you see fit, keeps you really, really fluid within the scale, and it makes sure that you understand where you are in the scale pattern. Once you've listened to today's episode, jump onto my website where I've got a worksheet all about this scale routine that you can download absolutely for free and use it to structure your own scale practice. Enjoy, and until next time, this has been Sax Bites, the 5-minute saxophone lesson podcast. Bye!